Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the end of June. That'll do. Start of July. So the next update, I think this is number 4. Number 4 sounds right. Let's say it's number 4. Number 4 update on the ongoing saga of Rincewind. Man, it's over halfway through the whole thing now, so I better have made some progress on this month, eh? Fortunately, I have. I'm actually quite pleased with how much I've done. I'm not quite where I wanted to be. Well, no, I'm more than where I wanted to be when I last did an update. I'm not quite where I really wanted to be, but I'm pretty close. So, what have I done this month? What I've done this month is the big chunk of everything, which has been the robes. And that was a challenge. Because I decided that working in velvet, stretch velvet, would be a fantastic idea. So that's worked. Looks lovely, but horrible to work with, as anyone who sews knows. And then I decided that putting a nice shiny satin layer on the inside would be a good idea. Yeah, I haven't worked with those materials before, and I didn't realise quite how difficult working with those would be in relation to just movement on the sewing machine and all of that sort of stuff. So I ended up having to buy a walking foot for my sewing machine. This is now my new favourite thing. Anyone who doesn't have a walking foot should have a walking foot. It is the best. I love it, and everything about it. It is my precious. What it has allowed me to do is actually complete the robes. So here are Rincewind's robes. They are all nice and lined nicely, and French seams. I learned how to do a French seam. That was fun. And they're all nice and smooth on the outside. I'm quite liking being able to show everyone them before they get weathered. So at the moment they're all nice and shiny and new and tidy. So nice big wizard sleeves. So nice big tidy, and they'll sort of sit more or less like this, a little bit hinged in or cinched in with a belt that'll sit around there so you can see his shirt underneath. And then we've got, which won't match very well at the moment because it's all ratty and the robe is not, this, which sits on top. So this is the sort of look that we're going for, but obviously this will end up a lot rattier. So you can see I have not hemmed or done the bottom here because I will be hemming that with a rock. So that is the plan. So yeah, really pleased with this. It was harder than I expected in some ways. Like I say, I didn't expect the velvet and satin to be quite so difficult to work with. But in other ways, I'm really like it worked quite well, and I'm really quite pleased. Like you can see, I've sewn in stars into the silk here. So that was just done 2 layers or a folded over layer of silk with a very thin layer of wadding in there just to give it a bit of puff, and then just sewed those in. So I'm really pleased with how that's all come out. So yeah, now I just need to weather those next month, and then that's basically the robes done. What I've also achieved this month is, and which is what I was meaning before, it would have been really nice to be able to show you guys everything being complete, but it's going to take me a while, is the cloak. So the cloak at the moment is full of pins, so I'm being very careful with it, but it will sit more or less like this. It's got a nice big hood at the back, and you can see all of I cut out 30 or so stars and moons, which are all pinned on there at the moment, and I have to stitch all of those on individually, which is going to take forever. And I tried to sew one on freehand, and it just went very poorly. It just started sort of bunching up. So I have bought an embroidery hoop, which I will be using to be able to hold everything in place, stitch those onto this very stretchy fabric. And then I've got the lining to do on that, and I've also, the robe will also have more of the embossed silk, and this one has moons as well, so that'll go down the sides of the robe, and again get munched up at the end. So that is pretty much how pretty much how Rincewind's going so far, and I'm really pleased. Like, I would have liked to have been able to show everyone the robes complete this month, but I just realised that having to do those individual stars and moons on the cloak is just going to take me forever. So that's going to be a sit in front of the TV and stitch them every night for the next few nights, and get all of those sorted. So that's basically, like, the stars and moons on the robe are sort of the last big piece. Well, once I've done the stars and the moons on the robe, I can cut and stitch the lining, then I can do the edges of the robes, and then it's weathering. So next month's plan is to finish the robes and the cape, or cloak, and weather those, hem what I need to hem, attack with a rock what I can attack with a rock, and get all of that more or less ready. So that will pretty much be everything, and then that's the end of July. Then there's also a few bits and pieces for the Rincewind costume that needs to be done. A belt buckle, a pendant, which I'm hoping to actually be able to cast out of brass. That is the current plan, and I will record that. If it actually happens, I will record that, so I'll be able to show casting that in brass. I'm not 100% sure that's going to happen, but that is the current really want to have. The backup is that I'll just 3D print it and make it look brass. So there's a backup plan there. Same with the belt buckle. So the belt, I'm probably going to use a couple of chunks of leather that I've got to make a decent fat, thick belt, because I want it to look nice and big and obvious, and a great big belt buckle. And yeah, so that's more or less, barring the last few details and anything that I want to tweak and change, the actual costume done. So in theory, my next update, I could probably actually show the entire costume. So that is the plan. But there is the other part of it. The other part that I want to do, which is an integral part of Rincewind, and that is the luggage. So I've been starting to plan how to do the luggage as my costume prop, for want of a better word. It's... The luggage itself isn't too hard. Like, it's just a big chest that I just need to make, paint, and detail. The tricky bit is that when you open it, it has teeth. So, yeah, I think I have an idea of how to make it open so that the teeth come out when I open it. I think I've got a plan for that. I don't think that's going to be too brutal. I say with great confidence. The bit that I am worried about is the luggage has legs, and it has 100 or more tiny chubby baby legs that hang off the wall that allow it to walk around. Finding a place to buy chubby baby legs is not easy. So at the moment, that's my main worry, is that I'm not going to be able to find chubby baby legs, which I quite like saying, but enough chubby baby legs for the luggage. So that, at the moment, I'm thinking that I might try and make a mold for one, try and find a decent 3D print one, reverse it, make a mold for it, and then use expanding foam so that I can just make a production line of chubby baby legs. but I haven't really thought that one out. I thought it would be easier. I thought I'd be able to jump on AliExpress or Temu or something and find a whole lot, but way harder than I thought it was going to be. So that's my main one at the moment, because I can pretty much fudge everything else, but the luggage has to have legs, and I'm just not sure how to do that. So with any luck, by this time next month, I will either have a big pile of chubby baby legs that I found somewhere, or I will be well into the production line of chubby baby legs. So that is the current plan. Like I say, Rincewind, the costume should be more or less done by the start of August, and the luggage should be, hopefully, at the very least, I should have all the parts and be ready to go, because that's going to take a lot of work beyond just getting the parts, obviously, because you know, it needs to be cartoony but look wood, or you know, yeah, the normal sort of cosplay thing. It's kind of a cartoony look, but needs to be smooth, needs to work, needs to open, close, needs to have the teeth, needs to have the legs, you know, all of that sort of stuff. Needs to be portable, because I'm based in Dunedin and I need to get up to Auckland, and I've travelled with big costumes before, but I don't massively want to do that again. So I don't want to have to make it completely modular. I want to be able to try and get it to a point where I can actually just, you know, wrap it in something and away it goes. That's the ideal, and I'm not sure how that's going to work either. So yeah, I've got a few logistical things that could trip me up over the next month or so. Costume wise, you know, it's going really well. So the costume itself, really happy. Really happy with how it's looking, really happy with how it's all working. It's going to be everything that sits around it that's going to be the tricky bit. Yeah, so that's sort of where it's sitting. That's a little scary trying to work out where to get all the chubby baby legs, because I'd hate to get the luggage worked on a whole lot of the way and then find out that I can't get those. So yeah, that's my real concern at the moment, and the thing that I will next be working on. To once I work out if I can get those, the rest of it more or less works fine. So that's the current plan. I will give you another update in a month, and hopefully have a pile of chubby baby legs to be able to show off, which sounds really weird. All good. Okie dokie. See you guys later. Bye.